when the country's burning down and all these horrible things are happening, why does education matter? First of all, there's no Department of Education, so I am not in academia. I was just too radical of a scholar, and there are a lot of compromises that I wouldn't make. In this country, teaching the truth about history is resistance. I see this as ancestry in progress. Hey, my name is Dr. Rebecca Hall. I am the creative director at Wake Productions, and we are launching a Patreon. So think of this as a grant application. Why would you want to fund a Patreon channel for Wake Productions? Why am I the person you would want to fund? And why is it important now? If you're writing a grant, and I've written many, those are the questions you need to answer. So why me? I'll start with that. I'm a JD PhD. I went to Berkeley Law, graduated in '89 and practiced law for 8 years, did tenants' rights and eviction defense. And then I realized that I was just the branch of welfare that sues welfare, and I couldn't deal anymore. So I was like, what's going on here? There's something that stinks in this legal system, and I just don't quite understand. I bet it has something to do with slavery. Let me go back and study that. So I went and got a PhD at UCSC in history. And I wrote a dissertation about women's involvement in leadership of slave revolts. And I subsequently turned it into a comic book, and it popped. It's in like 9 languages now, I think. So I have taught law school, grad school, undergrad, and high school. And high school is my favorite. Don't ask me why. So I'm used to being able to talk with a range of people and try to keep everyone, engaged, even if there's different knowledge levels. And I am also, I am a scholar activist. I've been an activist my entire life. I come from a very radical background family. In some ways, I thought my writing was sort of separate from my activism. And over the course of the activism that I do, which is a lot of climate justice, fence line, front line, Indigenous solidarity work, I realized that I was actually writing about the same struggle, which is how do we get right with the planet, and the people. I also learned that, in my goal for quest for a tenure track position, I was just too radical of a scholar, and there are a lot of compromises that I wouldn't make. So I am not in academia, but I love to teach. So I want to take this opportunity to do what I love, which is teach. Why now? Why is this important now? First of all, there's no Department of Education. I think teachers are being replaced with machine language learning models, and there's like a 50% literacy rate, and people don't know how to engage with complex texts or think critically or analyze sources. These are things that people would learn in an engaging social studies class, which apparently is a pretty rare thing. America has a problem with its history. James Baldwin calls this problem the refusal of history. I want to show you this book. This is a first edition James Baldwin, The Fire Next Time. It came out in 1963. So did I. And The Fire This Time. So what his point is that America is invested, the United States is invested in the refusal of history, right? It's like the idea is, yeah, sure, there were bad detours like indigenous genocide and chattel slavery, but we were always on the road to freedom, right? We were always on this road. And that's a lie. That's not true. The country is constituted by these systems. And if we don't wake up to that fact and engage these legacies, we are going, as James Baldwin said very clearly, yeah, of course I'm worried about the Negro being one. But really, this country's going to burn down because people are refusing history. They don't want to know what happened, right? And this investment in American innocence, right, where you try to tell the truth about history at all, and you're met with violence, or in my case, firing. There's this kind of mythology. I think Dr. Martin Luther King might have been the one who made this expression first. The arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. There is no arc. We are the arc, right? So history doesn't have a natural trajectory. We have to fight for our freedom. Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without demand. It never has and it never will. And as Professor Davis says, freedom is a constant struggle. So you might be getting, when the country's burning down and all these horrible things are happening, why does education matter? It's the most important thing. Because people can't think critically. They can't even, like, so many people don't know how to, like, is that a reliable source? How do I deal with it? These are things that you're supposed to learn in high school from your history teacher. And so if you did not have that opportunity, I will be your history teacher. I was joking with some friends. It's like, I want to think of your favorite social studies high school teacher. That's what I want to do in Patreon. And everyone's like, ew, we always hated our social studies teachers. I'm like, okay, don't think of that. Think of me teaching you. In this country, teaching the truth about history is resistance. So when I got my PhD in history, I realized the institution of history itself, like many fields, it was designed to sing the praises of the nation state. It's not like the form of history is like anything liberatory in itself, but uncovering a bottom-up, ground-up understanding of how people impact their own world. My paternal grandparents were actually born property. There were several generation skips in my family. So my grandmother was born in Missouri in 1860. She didn't know how to read. She wasn't allowed to read, and then later my uncle taught her how to read. Education is dangerous for the status quo. I see this as ancestry in progress, right? My paternal grandparents were born property, and I am here now today trying to recover the history of my people. Why you? Why would you want to contribute to this Patreon? To quote the brilliant Dr. Fatima, if you are just 3 raccoons in a trench coat, go ahead, enjoy. But if you actually understand that doing this actually has costs, Wake Productions needs your support. And Wake Productions is the freedom school we're building here in West Oakland. You are interested in learning. You're interested in critical thought and engagement. This is not a political education channel. I am not here to shove Marx down your throat. That's not the way I teach. I want you to think critically for yourself. It's important to understand what is at stake here. I think about what's going on around us, and I try to say, okay, all these things needed to burn down. We need to build in this wreckage. We need to build the most beautiful thing we can. And I'm trying to build a freedom school here in West Oakland. A freedom school can be anything. Ella Baker started a freedom school, which was crucial in launching the civil rights movement. Fannie Lou Hamer as well started Freedom School about how to learn to read and register to vote and do all those things. This is also a freedom school where I will be teaching history, media literacy, critical thinking. We're also working with Black and Indigenous youth to create a comic series. If you want to support Wake Productions and enjoy the content of this channel, then please subscribe.